This audio documentation is my view of demonic spirits. I believe that they are black entity shadow figures, at least the ones that I've seen, that I consider to be demonic. I've been attacked in a dream before, which is uploaded on my channel. My channel is all about testimonies, the things that I've experienced in my life, being a born-again Christian after reading the Bible from the beginning to the end, just to read it, and then when I was about in my early 20s, and then also when I was 30, I picked up the Bible and I studied the New Testament a little bit to learn a lot more, and implemented the things that I learned into my life. For about 2.5 years I did that, and I put God literally first, wanting to honor him and show him my love by changing my life. And when I did all those things, I started to seeing like shadow figures. I believe it's the enemy realizing that he lost his grip of my life, and I was more of God's people than his. And once he loses somebody, he doesn't leave you alone. He messes with you or clowns you. And what I mean clowns you is he always is watching you to see what you're going to do, because once you're of God, you can lead others to Christ. And the enemy is spiritual, so you got to be spiritual as well in order to be clowned. That's how I look at it. In my lifetime, I've been scratched. I had 3 scratches on my arm appear while taking a shower, and they burned and they swole, and they didn't leave my body for hours. It wasn't me. I don't have nails, and I didn't scratch myself, but I got attacked once like that. Another experience I've had is where I talked to a demon and a person. That was the night I called out to God, because it was my first experience ever being in that situation. And God instantly calmed my heart, and gave me instant knowledge that I wouldn't be harmed that night by it. And so I asked it a couple questions in the person before it told me to leave. I also casted out a demon unexpectedly. Thought I was just going to do a prayer on a person, and instead it turned into a casting of a demon out of them. That was really scary too. I almost ran out the door, but I stuck through it. And I've seen the shadow figure on a house, and later it got raided by the ATF 8 days later. I've seen shadow figures in the movie theater flying around the ceiling of the dark movie theater. I've seen shadow figures above a certain bar where I didn't like the guy that ran it, discernment wise, I didn't like it. I'm just saying, all these things are real events that taken place, and I got the stories uploaded on my channel. I also have good stories. I prayed to see Jesus's face, and I had answered prayer on that. I seen a ghost too, but isn't really a ghost. The thing about ghosts is that I believe that's a concept to keep you away from the truth, that there's only angels and demons. So if you see a ghost, then it's actually a demon. That's what I believe. But I called it a ghost because it was human formed, and it walked through a closet door and disappeared. And it was in full color, and it was solid. Couldn't see through it. It was and the dogs were barking at it too, because they could see it. It was that solid. It was like an intruder in the house. But there's this book called Pigs in the Parlor, and it has some sections on demon information that I read a long time ago as well. And the other thing about demons is that you don't want to intentionally mess with them. I don't ever want to intentionally mess with them. I don't even like to think about them or talk about them honestly, but being a Christian, I know they're real. So I'm uploading this video today, and today's December 19th, 2025. But you should never do Ouija boards, psychic, medium stuff, anything like that, because you don't know who they're actually tapped into as far as their information. Also, with demons, I've had like instances where things fall off the shelf. I've had like 3 pound pizzas in a pan at work fly off the shelf. I've had bag of bread fly off the shelf. I've seen. I had an object hanging on a hook on the wall fall down off the hook by itself. I had the picture of Jesus in my room one night, and I was praying to God, and then my picture fell over of Jesus. I'm just saying all these things have happened in my life, and I've seen the shadow figure stuff, and it's all because I believe that I'm born again, and now I'm spiritual, and the enemy don't like that. You don't like the Christians that are real. When I say real, I mean strong in the Lord, or not that by works, I'm saved by grace. It's all God's design. Everybody on earth serves a purpose for God. It's whether or not you have the relationship with God to serve the purpose. Like, I'm 51 now, and when I was 30 is when I got serious about God, and I backslidden a lot in my life, and now I'm just trying to get back to where I used to be, which is not as easy as it used to be being older, in my opinion. But I'm praying to God. I'm trying to watch my speech. I'm trying to go out of my way if someone asks me to do something for them and not hold a grudge. Because, the older you get, the more set in ways you get. But, as far as reading the Bible, I learned about understanding that not only do you got to believe in God in your mind, but you got to believe in your heart. And I believe in my heart. An example would be to gauge yourself is if you watch the movie The Passion of Christ, directed by Mel Gibson. If you can watch that movie and cry about what happened to Jesus and everything that shows in that movie, then you probably have God or Jesus in your heart, and you love God in your heart. If you don't cry, then maybe you don't, but maybe you still do. I don't know, but I cried. I watched it 4 or 5 times, and then finally I cried after I watched it like the fourth or fifth time in my life. And I always wondered when I watched that movie, when Pontius Pilate says, "What is truth?" He asks his wife, "What is truth?" Truth. And truth is Jesus. That's my opinion what truth is, and truth is the Holy Bible. So if you live your whole life not reading the Bible, I suggest you read it just to read it. Even it'll soak you in, and it's amazing. There's war, there's miracles, there's angels, there's Jesus, obviously. There's God and how he ran the Old Testament. I mean, it's just amazing to read. So if you've never read the Bible, I recommend you read it just to read it as a novel. Even look at it as a novel like I did the first time. I didn't look at it as a novel, but I read it like it was a novel. I didn't read it to study and learn. I just read it to read it. The second time, I actually wanted to ingest what I read the first time. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents. That's things I wanted to talk about. Like I said, I believe the enemy messes with Christians that are strong. intentionally. A butterfly. And that's about it, I guess. And one other thing is, a couple days ago, I went to go upload a video that I created to share. It was a testimony about the 5 times I believe I heard God speak to me in my life. And when I re-listened to it, my phone captured a spirit that said Satan in it to ruin my video. And I had to delete it and redo my video. Then I uploaded it. So I'm just saying, like I said, it's weird how the enemy works, but he did it to hinder my channel, I think, and also, or hinder me at least, because I did upload it, and then I listened to it, and I was like, where'd that come from? I never said that. And then I had to delete it and redo it. That happened like 2 days ago, I think. So anyway, that happened, and then there's one more thing. Oh, and also on my channel, just so you know, I have asked God questions, opening the Bible randomly, for Him to give me answers to my questions, and I don't do that daily. I don't do that for entertainment. I don't do that unless I've had something spiritual happen to me, to where I'm looking for an understanding or I want a confirmation from God. I mean, I've asked God questions open in the Bible randomly, and my finger would land on something that doesn't make sense at all. So, and then I'll just give up on the question. I won't sit there and ask the same question like 50 times, until I get an answer. And I'm just saying that because I don't want really people doing what I've been doing. It's my faith, and there's other things as to why I've done that. But you'd have to listen to some of my audios that I've uploaded on my channel to understand why I'm saying these things. It's not a game. It's not a joke. It's not funny. I'm serious in my heart, because I'm like looking for direction. And anyway, that's about it. So in Jesus' name, I'm telling the truth about me and my view of what I think. Thanks. Bye.